Please don't eat me. The tiny alien thought humans were beasts until she learned the truth. Scene 1. The Pantry Moon. Kiri's landing pod, no bigger than a thimble, skidded between towering metal canyons and came to rest against a mountain of flour. The air smelled of vanilla and heat. Above, enormous rectangles glowed, light panels. Windows. A shadow crossed them. The floor trembled. A giant footfall shook the sugar dunes into an avalanche that buried her to the waist. She clawed free, antennae quivering. The briefing had been clear. Humans, vast, loud, and carnivorous, devoured whatever wandered near their dens. Kiri palmed her pulse knot. If they found her, she would surrender with the ritual phrase, "Please don't eat me." Scene 2. The beast approaches. The cupboard door swung open like a sunrise. A human face appeared. Soft brown eyes, a spray of freckles, a loose bun falling from a clip. The colossus reached in, and Kiri bolted, darting behind a tin painted with strawberries. The human hummed, fingers riffling through jars. A shadow fell over Kiri. Warm breath touched the tin. "Where did I put the cinnamon?" the human murmured to herself, voice rolling like distant thunder. Kiri squeezed her eyes shut and wished her pod had not fused on impact. The human withdrew at last, closing the door. Darkness settled, and Kiri's heart slowed. Scene 3. The Cat and the Cup. Kiri slipped along the shelf and stumbled onto a glossy book propped against the wall. Its pages showed gleaming knives and roasted animals glazed with syrup. Gigag. Beasts, she thought, and decorative about it. She leapt toward a narrow porcelain cup for cover. Something hissed. Twin yellow moons burned in the dark eyes. A padded paw slid along the shelf, hunting. Not a human, then. A furred predator the size of a dropship. Kiri darted, the paw swiped, and she fell, tumbling, flailing into open space. Scene 4. The Giant's Hands. She landed on a warm plateau. A human palm. The freckled colossus had returned, moving faster than the cat. The hand curled, becoming a cage of gentle mountains. Kiri froze, throat tight. "Hey there," the human whispered, stunned or replacing fear. You're real." Kiri lifted both arms. "Please don't eat me," she cried in trade cant, then in the few human words she knew. "No heat. Peace, please." The human blinked, then laughed softly like a wind chime. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm not going to eat you." Carefully, she lowered Kiri into an empty glass jar and set a lid on top, loose, with air holes punched like stars. Scene 5. The Name of the Beast. On a wooden table, the human sat with Kiri in the jar, the cat banished with a reluctant flick of its tail. "I'm Tessa," the giant said. She placed a droplet of water on the jar's base using a spoon. Kiri drank, then made the sign of gratitude, a palm to chest, and repeated her name. Tessa found a magnifying glass and peered. "You're adorable," she whispered, as if the word could bruise. She brought over an old earbud and a tiny copper coil, hands steady as summer clouds. "I'm an after-school science teacher. If you can hear me better." She rigged a tiny amplifier taped to the jar. Kiri's implant caught the frequencies, chimed, then aligned. Tessa's voice came through clear and low. "Better. Better," Kiri said. She touched the glass. "You save from Claw Beast." "Cat," Tessa smiled. "He thinks everything is a toy." Scene 6. Lessons of the Kitchen. Through the afternoon, Tessa cooked, narrating as if to a class. Flour became bread under her patient hands. "Yeast is alive too," she explained, "but we don't hurt it. It helps us." Kiri watched the processes, the care. When Tessa chopped carrots, she tucked errant pieces aside for the cat so he wouldn't beg. When the bread browned too quickly, she lowered the heat, not cursing but coaxing. This was not the behavior of a beast. It was a conversation with the world. Humans eat, Kiri said at last. But not everything. Tessa looked up. No. We choose. We try to be kind. Scene 7, the pesticide truck. Evening brought a rumble from outside and the reek of chemical rain. Through the window, Kiri saw a truck crawling past, spraying a silvery mist into gardens. What is that? She asked, throat stinging. Pest control, Tessa said, frowning as wind pushed the mist toward the open kitchen window. They announced a neighborhood spray. I forgot. Kiri staggered as the jar filled with scent. Her lungs seized. It kills small, she gasped. Tessa slammed the window, coughing. She lifted the jar, then hesitated, realizing the lid sealed the fumes in. With a quick twist, she freed Kiri and cupped her close, moving to the bathroom and turning on the shower for steam. The warm fog clung to Kiri's skin, washing the sting away. Tessa's voice, tight with worry, rumbled above the ceramic. Stay with me, okay? I've got you. Innate, the choice. After the air cleared, Tessa set Kiri on a folded towel near the sink. The giant's eyes were rimmed with irritation from the spray, but her hands remained steady. I'll take you outside later, she said, to where the air is clean. Kiri studied her face, the worry lines, the careful breathing. The legend of human beasts crumbled like stale bread. My people wait in high orbit, Kiri said. We came to see if you destroy what you don't understand. Tessa startled, then chuckled once, a little breathless. Some of us do. Some of us try very hard not to. Kiri touched her own translator and opened a channel. She spoke to her captain in clipped status phrases. Contact made. Giant displays protection behavior. Recommending cultural exchange, not extraction. She ended with a human phrase that felt risky and right. Trust me. Scene 9, the cat's apology. The cat slunk in, contrite tail low. Tessa scooped him up with one arm and offered Kiri the other hand as a platform. This is Jasper, she said. He's a hunter by nature. But he can learn. Kiri stepped onto Tessa's palm and faced the furry supernova of whiskers and rumbling purr. Jasper's eyes narrowed, not with hunger but curiosity. Tessa guided his nose away, tapping gently. We don't chase friends. Kiri bowed, formal, and the cat blinked, then sneezed delicately and turned his head. Acceptance in a language older than words. Kiri laughed, a bright, surprised sound. Your beasts can change. Sometimes, Tessa said, smiling. Scene 10, bread and stars. Night fell. Tessa sliced the cooled bread into neat hills and placed a crumb the size of a boulder beside Kiri. Tasted like warmth and patience. They ate in companionable silence while streetlights lit the window like constellations invented for the ground. What will you do now? Tessa asked. Kiri wiped a smear of butter from her chin. I will ask to be an envoy. To learn your kindnesses and your mistakes. To teach you ours. She looked up. If you will not eat me. Tessa's laugh was soft. I will make you tea. Kiri stood, small and unafraid, on the rim of her glass jar. No longer a prison but a balcony. She raised her arms to the window, to the stars humming beyond it, and to the giant whose careful hands had turned a pantry moon into a home. Then let us begin, she said. And the night, listening, seemed to lean closer.